What's going on there? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Feedback Friday video. This is Shamshir Sound, and today we're going to be looking at your guys' submissions. So every week, every Friday, we're going to do this so long as submissions are coming in. If you guys haven't done it already, hop on my SoundCloud, Ali Nadem, send me a DM, say Feedback Friday, so I can make sure it's all organized, and it will be featured in the next video, next Friday. So, Feedback Friday, let's do it. I got all the tabs open. Let's go ahead and see what we're working with. We got some submissions from a few different artists around the world, so let's see what we got. We're just working in the order that we received them. So the first one, so we got a bootleg. Hopefully we don't get copyright. Hopefully we don't get copyright. Let's come to that one next. This one's called Endless Melody by Parth Sharma. So thank you, Parth Sharma. Progressive house. Ooh, some nice sun action. I'm gonna get some sun today. Make sure you guys get that vitamin D. Really like this demo. It's different. I have some comments that can help, hopefully. But I really like that drop. It's like, it's gentle, it's soft. It's kind of like ethnic, but like emotional, but happy. You know, it's not like too over the top driven. I don't know what your goal was with this, but it's a cool idea that you have here. I like that melody. Before we go into the break, I would say about the intro that you have here, it is a bit rigid. It is very kind of like duh, duh, like it's very kind of it's not very malleable. I know that's kind of a weird way of putting it, but for me here, maybe because the drop is softer, maybe you could get away with an even quicker intro. It's possible. Like, there's a big room track that I'm releasing. I teased it in my Drummer S73 video yesterday, and it's a heavy drop, but my build up is like 15 seconds long. So maybe making the build up shorter. You know how like in a lot of tropical house tracks, they don't follow a very orthodox common way of a build up. They'll kind of like just do it their own way, maybe like slow fade in and then boom drop. That might work here, but I like the drop idea, and it seems like you're incorporating the right things. Like, yeah, you're fading in, and it's the drop sounded more powerful, the build up. Let's listen to this build up again. Yeah, I would see what maybe sounds you could add to the build up. You don't need to follow like the big room hands up approach for every single build up. You can get creative with it. But I like the drop idea. I would like to see this like further developed and see where it goes. Feel free to send me some more stuff. Let's listen. One thing that before I forget is that the drama drums, they kind of like, the reason why I was talking about the efficiency of the build-up was that those dramatic drums kind of make it seem like, come on, let's get going, let's get going. So maybe it's not that interesting during the build up. So you could alleviate that by shortening the build up, maybe, you know, trying some different stuff out. But the overall idea is cool. And we can see that here too. Like those drama drums, like what are they really doing? You probably just put them in, you're like, okay, let me put in something. But those dramatic drums are not really, sometimes a sample, less is more. Sometimes a sample can actually make it worse. Because we go from those light drums to this heavy snare and then back to the gentle drop. I like the drop that you have, but I would see what you can do with minimalism and maybe use like some pads and ambience. Maybe try doing a build up where you're telling a story. It's like a pad, a strings, orchestral, not too like dramatic drums, build up snare, Ollie James, Kashmir style, but like something cinematic and then whooshing into like a drop. That might be a good idea. But it's cool. I like this. Good job. Thanks, Parth. Let's have a look at the other one. Blaster Jack's Monster. I think I heard Monster. I think so. I'm gonna kind of try and cut through this so that the whole video doesn't get flagged for copyright or blocked. Hands up, hands up. The idea is cool. I think the kick could be more powerful in terms of bass. I'm listening on Odyssey headphones. They're quite flat, but you might be listening on like Sennheiser or something that is emphasizing the bass. So take a look in Voxengo Span. I would recommend referencing too. If you're ever doubtful of your mix, you can always take a look at a track. This is what I used to do a lot. I would, you guys can do this. I would hop on Beatport and I would just go to like a label that I like. So this case, I would search like Revealed or Spinnin' or whatever, right? A similar type of drop. And then if I find Revealed recordings, geez, Beatport is terrible. I just liked this feature that they had. It was quite innovative. Okay, so I would go to Revealed Recordings and I would look at the keys that are being released. Wow, this is so bad. Okay, here we go. All right, so tracks, I would go to the tracks and I would look at the key. So if my track was like in F sharp minor, I would only look at F sharp minor. And if I wanted to keep it fresh, I would look at tracks that were most recently released. This way I could see, okay, Tonight by Sick Individuals was released, you know, like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks and a half ago, and it's an F sharp and it's a big room track. If it's a similar vibe to my track, I might try and get that song and reference it, and it might be a good idea for you because the kick I think could benefit more from being having a deeper low end. During there too, maybe even try and like during that fill, maybe even a cowbell or like a snare drum, just to create more interest. We always want to keep the listener like stimulated and interested in hearing the track. So those little details that you add could really spice up the track. Just skipping through that, I don't want the copyright. So it looks like you've gotten a lot of the structure ideas going, but I would work more on the drop elements, on adding a more maybe like a super saw driven lead, the kick. With the kick, you could try a variety of things to give it that more low end. You could try like adding an EQ and adding maybe a low shelf EQ or a bell curve towards those subsonic frequencies to boost. But, you know, I don't really have too much to comment about this track. I feel like it needs a little bit more spice, a little bit more oomph, but that would probably come as you work more and more on the track. But thank you for the submission. All right, so the next is from someone called Basic. I think it's Basic. ID. ID though. Let's listen to the ID. The ideas you have going into this are really nice. I like that intro, like the tom drum is a little metallic-y, kind of. It's got like it's a little off-putting, but don't get me wrong, it's not bad. I like that intro. I think the only thing that caught me by surprise was when the drop hit. It sounds so boomy. It sounds like there's a lot of fighting going on for space in the, like, probably, let me hear this again. It sounds like the synth at the drop is spread out too wide, and then there's a lot of fog and muddiness going on, like a lot of clash of frequencies. It would really benefit your drop to have a drop that is like your kick that is very potent, boom boom da dun dun, boom boom da dun dun, but it sounds like it's like it's so, like, it's become so blurred. So I would see what you did with the stereo width. I don't know if you just tried to pan them to the sides or use like a stereo widening plugin. You know, a lot of those plugins that do stereo width are, like, I'm just gonna tell you straight up, they're ass. Like, Maurice West talks about this. He uses stereo width plugins, like, he rarely uses them anymore because he realized that, and who else talked about this? Showtek, that, you know, you need a strong mono foundation, whether that be the kick or the synth. And even if the synth, it's mono, your reverb is helping with the sides, your chorus is helping with the sides, your phaser is helping with the sides, your delay is helping with the sides. There's a lot that can help with the sides. Let me listen to the drop again. Yeah, it's just so boomy. I would try out maybe a different lead. If you're persistent on keeping that kick, maybe let that kick speak out more and have space, because ultimately everything is fighting for space. And try a lead that is either not so wide, or you might have to go to the drawing board and try something. But yeah, let me know how that progresses. Appreciate the submission. It just sounds like it's too suffocated. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section, Basic, like what you put on the master chain, or if you did do something like that with too much widening or something, because it seems like they're fighting for space and the kick is being like suffocated while the lead doesn't have like a center focus. It doesn't allow it to speak through the mix. If I can quickly, for demonstration, I'm gonna go to just mine and just show you here during the drop here. Right, it has a big mono element. It's right in your face. you always want to make sure that your kick and your lead, because everything is mixed around the kick in EDM, generally speaking. So you want to make sure that that kick has space to speak, but the leads are also not hidden. So listen to your mix in mono. Take a look and see, listen to your mix in mono. That can give you some good insight as to how it'll translate on some other systems, such as like club speakers or cell phone speaker, you know, like this Garbaggio Nexus 5X. This is mono system, I believe, mono speaker. A lot of the phones these days are still mono, which that's its own discussion, but you want to make sure you can create space for that kick, create a not so super wide lead, and you can make a wide lead, but make sure it doesn't get so lost in the drop. But I appreciate the submission, and feel free again to send some more. On the subject of submissions, you can check you guys, all these guys. I'm gonna post a link in their name in the comment section and in the video description, so that you can check them out if any of them interest you and you want to contact one of these guys. I will link you all their socials, and let's continue. If you guys are enjoying this video, would appreciate a like. Smash that like button, you know, put an F in the comments, you know, for some respect. Put some respect on that. Let me know if you guys want to see this, because I like doing this, like Feedback Friday. So Bolt, we got that Bolt. All right, let's listen to Bolt. One thing be careful of is like that intro. It seemed like there was a lot of mid-low frequencies just popping in. It was like boom. So just be careful. This one, the kick is sounding better. It's sounding better, but I think there's like, it's driven too much. In contrast to some of the demos we checked earlier, this is like, it's too driven. You hear around right here, you're doing like a sub impact plus the kick. There's a lot of fighting going on there. You could do that, but you're gonna have to really be less is more. You're gonna have to like probably reduce the sub impact volume a few dB, or even more drastically. Yeah, there's that, like, I don't know what to describe it as. I don't know if it's because of the mix down. So I don't know what the root cause of that is, but there's a lot of low end frequency information that is kind of like, it's hurting the mix. Maybe you guys in the comments could comment on that. Yeah, it sounds too suffocated, the mix. I think you'll have to really focus on the mix down. It sounds like it's just being choked. And I think it happens to do with technical decisions being made, because there's just too much of that low-end frequency information. Maybe you could have started with like a minimal kick. You can still use effect stuff like some white noise, you know, some ambiance effects. Like, you can still spice up the intro. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should make it so skeletal there's like nothing there, but there's too much going on during there, and they're clashing and making it boomy and really unpleasant during that beginning. During the drop, yeah, it just sounds like it's like heavily distorted. I would would probably calm down. I think I know what it is. It might be your strings. You might be doing a lot of like synths. You might be doing like, oh, this Nexus string and then this and this and this and this. And it's just creating so much mid frequency clash, probably in the 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 and beyond range, that it's just like really becoming unpleasant. So yeah, I would really see what you can do with the mix down. If it's hard for you to gauge it yourself, basic, I would say that just look at references. It's, the proof is in the pudding. The blueprint is there, and there's nothing to hide in a track that's already there. So find your inspirations. It seems like you want to make some sort of big room track. So if it's like, for me, if I was in your situation, I would be looking at tracks to reference to AB from like Bass Jackers. They have some really good mixes. Kashmir has some really good mixes. There's really no right or wrong answer, but really want to be careful with the frequency decisions. I think you need to pay attention to leveling, and you need to pay attention to EQ. Always make sure you're curving space and making space. If you're not EQing something, make sure that you like I said, adjust the levels of that. There are many levels. Like I'm working on a track right now where like one of my effects are at minus 54 dB, because like a little bit higher was it just didn't work for that. So you always want to work like a chameleon and like work dynamically, but keep working. If you heard the first track I ever made, it was absolute bollocks. It was like, poof. Can't even describe it. I wish it was still uploaded. Thanks, man, for the submission, and look forward to hear from you in the future. Let's move on to Sinan Sakik. Oh, this is from Basic again. So this is the last one from Basic. It is a bootleg. Okay, so I'm gonna be careful with this one. What's going on there? Let's go! I didn't expect that. I don't know the origin of this song. I like the drop of this. I'm just skimming through it just because I'll copyright. Notice how this one with your drop, the kick is more like has its space. Your leads are not super like super wide. Like this one has a better components for the drop. I'm not really feeling the transition. Maybe I would have done the transition different, but the drop is cool. Yeah, I would say, let's see. If you were doing a tempo change, maybe like claps are a good way to, clap, 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 coming to the BPM that you desire. I do that a lot. There's some tricks, and I have a video about tricks that you can do with BPM fluctuations. But it's a little jarring, the transition here to this. They almost feel like they're different, like that they're not. It feels like I'm going from one song to another song, it doesn't seem like it's like a glued transition. So I would see if maybe you can maybe change the way the buildup is. But like, don't get me wrong, don't take my word is not gold here. My word is not like the utmost truth. It's just subjective. Keep in mind, guys, with any of the submissions provided to me and moving forward, this is just my opinion. But like the drop, I'm feeling more than the other two submissions that you sent. It's just that it's not suiting, because that reminds me of like Yaldam in the club, you know, and then it has like this Arabic lead, and it's a bit jarring. I think maybe trying out some more new ideas, you'll build more experience. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about that one. This was so funny though, it threw me off. Oh my god, I love having a good laugh. Thanks, man. Let's move on to SLARSSON. SLARSSON, what is this? Corona time? Let's listen to Corona time. And some of you guys, I did make sure I follow back. It's just I'm viewing in Opera because Chrome is glitchy when it comes to audio. Sometimes Chrome just doesn't play back any audio on SoundCloud. So let's see, is it Corona time? Is that what he's doing? Is he like purging COVID-19 featuring like bat soup or what? Let's go. Corona time. That's cool. I like this drop. You did a very good job with this build up. It's very powerful. The kick is very prominent. The mix is sounding pretty clean. Let's continue listening, and I'll give my 2 cents. Your mix is clean. The structure is good. I think the lead could be a little bit more interesting. If I had like any bit of criticism, I liked the drop 1 versus the drop 2, but I can appreciate what you're trying to do of like making it spicy, doing it, you know, a second drop. But Lazy Rich said this a lot, and Lazy Rich was an OG pioneer for electro house. He's the one that, you know, like worked with Porter Robinson on a couple tracks and really kickstarted that guy. I would say that even sometimes if you have a great sound, this is what Lazy Rich said, I'm paraphrasing from him. Even if you have a great sound, sometimes the melody is not great, or vice versa. Sometimes you have a great melody, but the synth or the sound you're working with is not that great. It's about finding that balance between the two. And it's cool. Like the mix down here is good, but that bam 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 bam, but maybe a layer or something, maybe changing up the melody could work. But your structure that you have is cool. That, and the other thing was like I wasn't a huge fan about the break. You know, hearing that why not try doing maybe like just some hands up chords? So instead of you're basically you're continuing that, you know, that drop thing. Dun, 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 dun. Why not do like a after this drop? After the drop, and then maybe a back verb. I always do this. This is very reliable. A back verb. Dun 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 do. Dun 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 do. Dun 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 do. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 do. Dun 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 do. Dun 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 do. Dun 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 dun. And then build up. That would arrive us back at. Right, but these are just ideas, right? You and ideas are really nothing until we actually execute them. But I like your mix down, and I like the structure that you have. Definitely gets a good good plus from that. Thank you, SLARSSON Music, for sending this one. Appreciate it. Let's move on to the second one from SLARSSON. Jungle House. Yeah, I want some Jungle House. Good, my brother. African rebel, Joseph Corny, I'm going to the jungle. Let's go. One, two, three, let's go. There's a lot of cheesy AF vocals from what are they from? WA Production, I think. There's a lot of cheesy vocals in general. That's why I've had to resort to recording my voice. I'm not even a trained singer, but you know. Feeling this one. Before we continue into this super dope idea, very different, and Ollie James says that we really gotta tap into our wild side. I really like that drop. It gave me some like Wolfgang Gartner type of vibe. I really like it. It's unique. Definitely love the uniqueness. I love how this was delayed. So like I didn't expect that like additional. I don't know if it was an additional bar of like 1, 2, 3, let's go. One thing that I would say is that I think the drop runs for 30 seconds. I would have liked to hear. I like how you did a variation, but I really enjoyed that OG like original drop. This one. I'm not sure if it was really necessary to add the extra bit here. You know, a lot of producers do that 30 seconds drop and then 15 seconds of like a pre-break drop of like minimal elements and then going into the break. So I'm not sure if that was really necessary, like extending it out so long. Maybe you could have just done a 30-second drop, but I like this idea. Yeah, so the two comments I would have to say are the one that I said earlier. I don't know if the drop needs to be extended too long. The 30 seconds might be the sweet spot. And the switch up that you have after the first bit, like I really like those long notes with that synth. Wah, 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 wah. I'm not as much of a fan of that. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. That wah, wah gives it more groove. It gives it more like movement and predictability. And a lot of times predictability is what gives things the notion of like it's easier to understand and easier to resonate with. So those are my two comments. I really like this one. This is a really good one. I think this is my favorite one thus far. So thanks for submitting this one. I don't really have too much to comment in terms of mix down. It does sound clean, and the structure's cool, and I like how it threw me off because the build up hit it and then it was like 1 2 3 let's go, you know, like that kind of. Sometimes when you throw a wild card, it's cool. It throws a listener off and they don't expect it and it's a surprise. So I like this one. Definitely has that jungle percussion. I'm not a huge fan of this ambiance you have here. Like that part, not the biggest fan of, but that's a minor complaint. Anyways, let's move on. Thank you, SLARSSON, for submitting this. Awino. I don't know if this guy just sent me spam, but we're gonna check it out. I mean, the first thing I notice is that this effects is bigger than the kick, so that's I would probably reduce the effects a little bit more. Everybody! Whoa, now talking on the subject of structure, I don't know where is the drop. This is one of those situations where I would recommend Awino, like, definitely, like, listen to your reference and build energy, because, like, you always want to build a mountain, because this, like, I'm seeing, you know, obviously visuals are not everything in terms of what we see. We have to go by what we hear. What we hear supersedes what we see. What we see just gives us a personal visual trust or a confirmation. But that confirmation is making me think, like, why is there more energy here and here? And then, you know, you might have to go back to the drawing board with this one. But if you don't want to make adjustments to this one, moving forward, what I would recommend would be to reference. Just get a reference, find someone, you know, download the MP3. You don't even have to get, like, the highest quality version. Grab a bass jackers, you know, whatever track, throw it in your DAW, put it in the top of your playlist, call it reference, and just come back to it and put very minimal stuff on the master, maybe just like a hard clipper, something, so that the reference is also not under the guise or under the disguise of master processing effects. So do whatever you need to do, but I would say that the structure with this one is lacking. Like, you have access to some good sound samples, but I would suggest really focusing on reference and building the energy. You can do an extended version. I would probably do like 15 seconds to 30 seconds of an intro of like shortened kicks, and then maybe a 15 or 30-second build up with a massive fat drop, your loudest portion of the track, right? The loudest portion, the king of the castle. And from there, you know, progressing with a break. Break can be maybe like 15 seconds long, or 15 seconds plus 15 seconds with a kick. You know, so I would definitely try to get inspired by Maurice West, Bassjackers, the people that you're trying to, because that's what I did back in the day. I would literally like take a fast foot song and I'd be like, oh, what is he doing? Bass. Okay, how do I do that? Right? How do I do that sound? How do I do this? How do I do that? So look no further than the artists that you listen to, that you draw inspirations from. Like they say, a good artist copies, a great artist steals. Now, I'm not telling you to go and just steal. I'm just using that quote to say that we have to imitate for a while before we can really try to take our sound forward and really create our unique sound. But I appreciate it. Thank you for the submission, and feel free to send more. Let's go ahead and say, I would say the winner for this is definitely Friday feedback for today. The hat goes off to SLARSSON Music. Thank you everybody who sent me a message. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot that I can give feedback to any of you guys. And like I said, it's just my opinion. So if it's, you know, offensive to any of you guys, I apologize. It's just my 2 cents. I've been listening EDM a while, and I started making electro house in like 2007 or 8. And I progressed from electro house to trance to ultimately kind of that big room style. But ultimately, just continue working, guys. You know, it's that 10,000 hour rule. Anything we do with consistency, we get better at slowly but surely. You know, today I'm going to go for a run, 6 kilometer like jog. And I remember like less than half a decade ago, I couldn't even run like a couple 100 meters. And it's just that mindset. We need to be able to push through and persevere. And when it gets tough, sometimes we need to push through the toughness. When you are lacking inspiration, sometimes you need to spice up your life and try different things. If you've been working too much on music, I would recommend, you know, go for a walk, take a nice look at that beautiful sun, do some physical activity. I know right now times are tough, but there's a lot of things that we can do during this isolation to learn new things and to motivate us for creation of the musics. So thank you guys. If you made it this far, you're the best. Make sure you guys smash up that like button. It means a lot to me. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the Debo submissions. What were your personal favorites? Which ones caught you by surprise? I love doing this. It just gives me a smile on my face, makes me laugh, and it's exciting. It's exciting. I like doing this type of content. And I will see you guys in the next future Feedback Friday video. Make sure you guys send me a DM on my SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Ali-Nadem. Send me a DM. Make sure you guys say Feedback Friday, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.